On Tuesday, New York held an election for public advocate. Here to talk about his victory is the newly elected public advocate, Jumaane Williams. Give it up! Yes. Hi. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for coming to hang with us.
Thanks for having me.
You look great.
Oh, thank you.
This your victory suit?
You caught me on suit day.
Hey, it looks great.
You look amazing.
Thank you for pretending like you know who I am. I appreciate that.
Okay, well, just tell everybody who's here what a public advocate does.
Well, it's one of 3 citywide elected positions. That's if you don't count the speaker who's elected by the council. Basically, the job is, for lack of a better word, be a watchdog. Make sure that government is working on behalf of the people, keeping the promises that were made, and being a go-between between the people and government.
Oh, look at that.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
How would a civilian go about contacting you if they had an issue?
Well, they can go online and they can also make a phone call. I didn't get in the position yet, so I don't have the number, but they could call 311. 311 to connect you to the public advocate.
What's your first day of work?
So we're trying to figure that out now. I'm probably going to get sworn in next week. I'm still like in the days. It hasn't really hit me yet. Like, it's kind of crazy to believe that this kind of happened. And so I'm still, you know, it's sinking in. But I think we're going to get the swearing in probably next week.
Amazing.
Next week? What is it, beginning of March?
Yeah, beginning of March.
Look at that. What a beautiful way to start. When does spring start? April? Okay, never mind. So why did you decide to run for this office?
I think I've been an advocate for the public for a long time. From community organizing day to a council member. I really was trying to just make sure that the position I hold was never more important than the people I represented. And I took the risk that people said bad for your career, but I'm like, it's the right thing to do. And so this position kind of epitomizes what I want to do. And I'm not using it to jump to something else. I really want to make sure the people's voice are heard. So I gave it a shot.
Amazing.
Come on.
Yeah. And you used to be a tenant organizer.
Yes.
Is that something that drives your fight for housing justice?
Yeah, I was a tenant organizer, community organizer before Barack Obama, so nobody knew what it was.
Okay, hipster.
My mother, my mom was like, please get a real job. And I had to tell her it is a real job. I would go to meetings and say I'm a tenant organizer. They thought I was saying tenants, like it was a long time ago. But I was really trying to figure out ways of how to empower. Social justice was always a big thing for me. Stuff you guys were talking about earlier about weed and disparity and all that stuff was always critically important. So for me, it was trying to figure out how to make transformational change. I discovered electoral politics. I wanted to get involved. I figured out that was a good way to do it. And I just wanted to make sure that, you know, I came in and I didn't let the game change me. I wanted to really try to change the game.
Now, are you the only elected official with his ears pierced?
Yeah. So I never really fit the description of an elected official. I used to have locks. You know, I don't usually look like I got arrested on Labor Day. I don't think people believe that I actually was a council member with my Kirsten John Foy. We use that to deal with the abuse of stop and frisk. I'm a hip hop head. Hip hop raised me. I reek of Brooklyn wherever I go. So I really wanted to be my authentic self, and I try to do that. And I remember making a decision to say I'm not taking out my earrings for job interviews. I made a decision. But if you're going to do things like that, you got to be on top of your game.
Okay, you got to be over-prepared. So you've been arrested more than any sitting elected official for like civil disobedience and things like that. How do cops treat you differently when they realize, oh, this is somebody that, it's not a regular black man, this is a black man that...
Well, it's funny. A couple of those arrests weren't the regular planned civil disobedience. One of those is with Kirsten John Ford. The then mayor was public advocate, actually. We were trying to get into an event. He ended up on the floor. We both ended up in cuffs. And probably because we had a little bit more melanin in our skin, we were treated differently. The last time I was arrested was blocking an ambulance that they were using to do an illegal deportation for a gentleman named Robbie Ragbear. It was the scariest thing I ever participated in. Myself and 17 others, we got flung around like rag dolls. It was terrifying. But because we did that, Robbie Ragbear is still in the country right now. And so I do that because I want people to come out of their comfort zone. If you are in your comfort zone right now, you are not doing enough. And you got to step a bit forward. The more privilege you have, the more you got to do. And so I'm just into that. I've always been to that. Put my body on the line if I have to. but I also get it done. So I got 53 pieces of legislation passed, more than any sitting council member.
Yeah.
I was ranked the most productive council member in the general body of 50. I wanted to show that you don't have to go along to get along. We're just finishing up Black History Month. People like to raise their heroes, talk about the risks they took, they risked their life. But I found like a lot of elected officials won't even risk their seat. They won't risk the title that they have. I just really tried to present a different type of elected official.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
Amazing. And it's great to have more elected officials that represent the demographics of where you're representing. There's not a ton of people of color in the New York City or state governments, like you and Letitia, right?
Well, the higher up you go, unfortunately, there's less. We do, sometimes it's frustrating, like in the city council, we do have the majority, quote unquote, minority, Black and brown, and there's a lot of elected folks in the state. But what I found, unfortunately, with that power, we still have some of the same issues. And it's frustrating to me. Because a lot of the things, we got the orange man in the White House, doing orange crazy shit. And I want to try to remind people the stuff that we find problematic now was before Trump. So they were Democrats. I'm probably to be a Democrat, but they were Democrats in charge when all this stuff was leading up to now Trump. And we have to hold them accountable as too. And some of those folks had some melanin in their skin. And I found the Democratic Party too often was more worried about incumbency protection and re-election than protecting the people. And then we have to hold them accountable just as much as we're holding the Republicans.
Yeah, I feel like most politicians are just more worried about keeping their jobs than like actually doing their jobs.
Sometimes that's too much. Like I'm human, so I can't act like none of that affects me. But I really try to make sure the decisions I'm making are first about the people. And you know, people have told me, they used to tell me I was proud to win because they told me I was too principled. Like I won't go high in politics, I'm too principled. And I would say that's all right. I only have to worry about the people, my family, the ancestors, and the Most High, and I'm gonna keep it moving. And last year I ran for lieutenant governor. Everybody told me that I shouldn't. I was going up against the governor, you know, he's powerful. And we did it anyway. And we still got 47% of the vote across the state. We won New York City by 55%, double digits.
Yes.
We got more votes than any non-white candidate ever. I did that with no money. And I told folks, I'm more proud to have lost that election the way I did than to win it any other way. And I feel like that's what we have to come when we're coming to these jobs. If you don't want to do that, you should find another job because people are suffering.
If you don't want to do your job, don't have that job.
That's a fact. That's what I think.
Before you go, you said that you're a hip hop head. What are you listening to right now?
Well, Middle Child has been cranking in my joint for a minute. So, you know, I've been listening to mostly Middle Child, Uproar. Now, before every debate, I take it back. I'm usually listening to Annie Up and Give Me the Loot. You know, I try to get a little pumped up.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming, Jumaane. Congratulations again.